Hello everyone, welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
And my name is Catherine, and today we are talking about an important holiday the world over.
It's very important all over the world, especially in the United States. So let's take a look at this holiday in Vocabulary Preview.
Vocabulary Preview.
So the name of the holiday is Veterans Day. So
Okay.
veteran.
So what's a veteran?
A veteran is a person who has participated in a war or in some kind of military situation.
Okay. So Veterans Day is a day where you commemorate all the people that fought in the different wars.
Exactly. A veteran doesn't have to be a World War II veteran. They could be a Civil War veteran or a Vietnam War veteran.
Okay.
It's just a general
Or a Gulf
term.
War.
Exactly.
All right. So that's the day in the United States where everyone honors all the soldiers that participated in different wars and they fought for their country. Mm-hmm. All right. So why don't we take a look at our dialogue for the first time, and we'll be back.
Do you have any plans for Veterans Day?
You mean Armistice Day?
What are you talking about? November 11th is Veterans Day. What planet are you from?
Well, as you know, on November 11th, the Allies signed a peace treaty with the Germans, also known as the Armistice Treaty. This marked the end of World War I, and many countries around the world commemorated this date under names such as Remembrance Day. In Poland, it's their Independence Day. There's a lot going on around the world on this day.
Wow, I didn't know. Probably because I flunked history in school.
All right, so there's a lot of really great vocabulary in this elementary lesson. So let's take a look at some of these words and phrases in Language Takeaway.
Language Takeaway.
All right. So the first word that came up after the guy mentioned Veterans Day, the girl mentioned Armistice Day.
Armistice.
Okay. So what is this Armistice Day?
Armistice means to stop fighting, right? So it's a time in which people lay down their arms, we say. Mm-hmm. And it's one that's celebrated in Commonwealth countries like England or Canada and in parts of Europe.
Okay, very good. So Armistice Day, kind of like the equivalent for Commonwealth countries to Veterans Day. Mm-hmm. All right. And, well, the girl gave him a bit of a history lesson and mentioned that on November 11th, the Allies signed a peace treaty. So we have two great words here, allies.
So allies is a word that we use in English to indicate people who fought against the Germans, Italians, and Japanese in World War II. Mm-hmm. So allies include Great Britain, America,
France
for some time. So these are countries and Russia, they were fighting against the Germans.
Right. So, and in general terms, an ally is a friend, right?
Exactly. So,
the opposite
Marco and I are allies. If there's a fight, I'm on his side.
The opposite of enemies.
Exactly.
Very good. And, well, the Allies signed a peace treaty. So what is a peace treaty?
A treaty is a document that outlines new rules for a situation. And a peace treaty is a document that calls for peace. It says, we will not fight anymore. Mm-hmm. We will have peace. And this is what this means. So we have new rules.
So it's an agreement. It's like a contract, basically.
Exactly. It's a contract between nations.
Okay, very good. All right. And as we mentioned, Veterans Day or Armistice Day, we commemorate these events that happened in the past. So to commemorate something.
Right. So in this sense, we are honoring it. So to commemorate is to remember, to honor, to
remember with respect.
To remember with respect. Exactly. There's a positive, respectful tone here. Mm-hmm. It's remembering for a good reason.
Okay. Very good. So we've taken a look at these four words. Why don't we listen to our dialogue again? And we'll be back in a bit to look at Fluency Builder.
Do you have any plans for Veterans Day?
You mean Armistice Day?
What are you talking about? November 11th is Veterans Day. What planet are you from?
Well, as you know, on November 11th, the Allies signed a peace treaty with the Germans, also known as the Armistice Treaty. This marked the end of World War I, and many countries around the world commemorated this date under names such as Remembrance Day. In Poland, it's their Independence Day. There's a lot going on around the world on this day.
Wow, I didn't know. Probably because I flunked history in school.
Today's Fluency Builder includes a couple of really interesting phrases that are kind of longer. So let's take a look at the first one, which is very, very common in English.
All right, so this first sentence was kind of using a sarcastic tone because he said, "What are you talking about?"
Right, so this guy says, Veterans Day? Oh, you mean Armistice Day? He says, what are you talking about? That means, no, I mean Veterans Day.
Right. So he wasn't really asking, like, what are you talking about? He was literally saying with this sentence, are you crazy? Or like,
You're wrong.
You're wrong. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So what are you talking about is a way, very sarcastic way to say, listen, I think you're wrong, or you must be a little bit crazy here.
Right. What are you talking about? All right. And then to end the whole sarcastic sentence there, he said, what planet are you from?
So obviously this is Veterans Day. What planet are you from? So you're so wrong. How do you not understand what this is?
How do you not know this?
Right. And so, for example, I could say, maybe I'll ask you, Marco, who's the president of the United States?
All right. I can say, well, what planet are you from? It's obviously President Obama.
Oh, duh. So it's like, obviously everybody knows this. And so
Right.
you're saying, how do you not how do you not know this already?
So it's very sarcastic. What planet are you from?
And finally, the guy is talking about how he doesn't understand what the meaning of Veterans Day is. And after this long explanation, he says, well, I didn't know. Probably because I flunked history in
Right.
school.
So if you flunked history or you flunked any subject in school, it means you didn't pass.
Exactly. So to flunk is a verb in English, and it means to fail a subject. That means maybe in 100% is perfect, you got 50% or
Right.
40%, and you have to take the course again.
Okay. Did you ever flunk an exam in school?
No.
No, really? You didn't? Never?
No.
Wow. Such a good student.
Did you?
Maybe I did maybe once or twice.
I was much too self-critical.
All right, let's listen to this dialogue again and we'll be back in a bit.
Do you have any plans for Veterans Day?
You mean Armistice Day?
What are you talking about? November 11th is Veterans Day. What planet are you from?
Well, as you know, on November 11th, the Allies signed a peace treaty with the Germans, also known as the Armistice Treaty. This marked the end of World War I, and many countries around the world commemorated this date under names such as Remembrance Day. In Poland, it's their Independence Day. There's a lot going on around the world on this day.
Wow, I didn't know. Probably because I flunked history in school.
All right, so Veterans Day, it's a big deal in the United States, right?
It's a very big deal.
There's a parade.
Yeah, in most cities in the country, there are parades. And when I was in school, we had to play music because I was in band. We used to play music for the veterans, and we would go to the cemetery and play taps. Da 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 da. Oh no, we wouldn't play taps. It was. Da, na, na, da, na, na.
That's like the funeral song? I don't know.
Yeah,
what
we
that's
would
called.
play funeral songs and taps for the local veterans who would be respecting and commemorating fallen soldiers.
Wow, and the president talks as well, like on national TV.
That's
and
right.
Stuff.
That's right.
All right. So it's very interesting, especially the history lesson. The fact that on November, I think it's called 11/11/11, right? November 11th at 11 o'clock, they signed this armistice treaty.
And that was in 1918. So this is World War I. We're talking about when the world had never really seen fighting like this before.
Right.
And so everyone was just relieved when what they called the Great War was finally over.
It's a very interesting history lesson. So I'm sure many people have some opinions on this. So we would be glad to hear it from you on our website at englishpod.com. You can also leave questions or comments, and we'll see you guys there.
And let us know, do you celebrate this holiday in your country?
Yep. All right.
Until next time, bye.
Bye.
Everyone.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
An agreement to stop a war. Armistice. Agreement. Treaty. Memorize. Commemorate. Fail in exams. Flunk.
Let's try that faster.
Memorize. Commemorate. An agreement to stop a war. Armistice. Agreement. Treaty. Fail in exams. Flunk.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Armistice. The two nations signed an armistice. Armistice. The key aspect in an armistice is the fact that all fighting ends with no one surrendering. Armistice. The Korean War armistice was a major example of an armistice which was not followed by a peace treaty. Armistice. Pain is remembrance. You cannot forget pain. Armistice. Nothing is more fatal to happiness than the remembrance of happiness. Armistice. If it seems a childish thing to do, do it in remembrance that you are a child. Treaty. This commerce treaty will bring prosperity between our great nations. Treaty. We shall sign a peace treaty with the invaders. Treaty. This treaty is not valid until I sign it. Commemorate. We are gathered here today to commemorate the lives sacrificed in an act of heroism. Commemorate. On November 11th, we commemorate the fallen with a march. Commemorate. The cenotaph commemorates the fallen. Flunk. I just found out that I flunked in math. Flunk. If you flunk any school subject, you will be screwed. Flunk. I really hope the teacher doesn't flunk me.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we're talking about helping other people.
That's right. We are going to volunteer and to help other people that maybe don't have as much as we do, and so this is a way to give back to the community.
That's right. So this is an intermediate level lesson, and before we get going, we have a phrase to preview in today's vocabulary preview.
Vocabulary preview.
All right, so on vocabulary preview today, we have this phrase, a soup kitchen, or it's a noun, a soup kitchen.
That's right. A soup kitchen is a place. Basically, it is a place where volunteers can help cook and serve people who don't have enough money to feed themselves.
Okay, so that's a soup kitchen. It's basically a place where people can get free food.
That's right.
Okay, so this is where we're going to be today. We are at a soup kitchen, and we're going to hear a couple of people talking about helping out at a soup kitchen. Let's listen.
Thanks a lot for pitching in once again, Judy. We really appreciate your help. It seems that at this time of year, there are more and more people who are struggling to make ends meet. There aren't many professional chefs like you who are so generous with their time.
Don't be silly, Mark. I'm more than happy to donate my time to a good cause. Volunteering at the soup kitchen has been really rewarding for me. You know, it's satisfying to provide good meals for those who are less fortunate. I feel like I'm really making a difference in some small way.
Well, your skills are definitely appreciated here. The people who come here have fallen on hard times, and a delicious hot meal can really bolster their spirits. Wow, that smells great. The needy are sure lucky to have you.
Thanks, Mark. Here you go. Enjoy your meal.
Thank you, my dear. Oh, this looks lovely.
You're welcome. Hello, sir. Today we have... George! What are you doing here?
Hey, Judy, I'll have a little of everything, thanks. Smells great.
George, seriously, what are you doing here? I haven't seen you since our divorce was finalized. You've got no right to be here. You're hardly homeless.
Don't be like that, Judy. I really miss your home cooking. All right, we're back. So obviously this person, George, he didn't really need the food, but apparently I think he's divorced from his wife, and he was like, oh, I need your food. But other people that were there were very much in need of this food. So why don't we take a look at some of the words and phrases on language takeaway?
Language takeaway.
Well, we've got a couple of interesting words here at the beginning that have to do with volunteering or helping other people. The first phrase we have actually is to pitch in.
That's right, to pitch in. So when you pitch in, that's a way of saying helping, right?
That's right, to help. So I could ask you for your help with something. I could say, hey, Marco, can you pitch in a little of your time with this project I have?
Okay, so dedicate or to help, to pitch in. So when you pitch in, you are helping. This is a really common phrase, very colloquial though, right?
To pitch in, that's right.
Okay, and then moving on, another adjective when a person likes to help or gives money to the poor, that person is generous.
That's right. So generous is an adjective. That means a person can be generous or an effort can be generous. For example, a very famous generous person is...
Mother Teresa of Calcutta.
Well, I was thinking Warren Buffett, but
okay.
Both of them are very generous. Mother Teresa for giving back to the poor and Warren Buffett for donating most of his money.
Okay, very good. So that is a sign of a person that is generous. So usually generous people like Warren Buffett, you say he gave away his fortune to people that didn't have money. We call these people the less fortunate.
That's right. So as you said, we've got 3 words here that mean poor people, basically. Mm-hmm. And we don't like to say poor people in English because it's not very nice. You know, people can't control their situation in many cases, and it's more of a situation of not having what others have. Mm-hmm. And so one way to say this is less fortunate. Okay.
So a person that's less fortunate is a person that's poor.
That's right. So I could say, for example, we often try to help the less fortunate by volunteering our time.
Okay. So fortunate is a way of saying that you have fortune or you have luck. So if you say you are very fortunate, that means that you are very lucky.
That's right.
Okay. So less fortunate means poor. And another way of saying that somebody is poor, you say that person is needy.
Needy. So this probably makes you think of the word need, to need, and you're right. This comes from need. So someone who is needy needs things, needs money, needs help, needs food.
Okay, even attention, right? Somebody that's needy might need a lot of attention all the time.
That's right. So this could actually be a bad thing. Someone who's needy says, look at me, oh my gosh, look at me, listen to me, and that can be very annoying.
Okay. So the needy. And now finally, a very common word to say that somebody is very poor, doesn't have a place to live, doesn't have a home. You say that person is homeless.
Homeless literally means without a home. And so we often talk about the homeless as being a group of people we want to help in society, because the homeless live on the streets, they live in public, and in the winter and times when it's really, really cold, it's very dangerous for them. So the homeless are a group that people try to help with these soup kitchens and shelters.
Okay, very good. So a lot of interesting words, common phrases there, very useful. So why don't we go back, listen to this dialogue again, and we'll be back in a little bit with Fluency Builder.
Thanks a lot for pitching in once again, Judy. We really appreciate your help. It seems that at this time of year, there are more and more people who are struggling to make ends meet. There aren't many professional chefs like you who are so generous with their time.
Don't be silly, Mark. I'm more than happy to donate my time to a good cause. Volunteering at the soup kitchen has been really rewarding for me. You know, it's satisfying to provide good meals for those who are less fortunate. I feel like I'm really making a difference in some small way.
Well, your skills are definitely appreciated here. The people who come here have fallen on hard times, and a delicious hot meal can really bolster their spirits. Wow, that smells great. The needy are sure lucky to have you.
Thanks, Mark. Here you go. Enjoy your meal.
Thank you, my dear. Oh, this looks lovely.
You're welcome. Hello, sir. Today we have... George, what are you doing here?
Hey, Judy, I'll have a little of everything, thanks. Smells great.
George, seriously, what are you doing here? I haven't seen you since our divorce was finalized. You've got no right to be here. You're hardly homeless.
Don't be like that, Judy. I really miss your home cooking. All right, we're back. So on Fluency Builder today, we have 3 key phrases. So we're going to take a look at those now.
Fluency Builder.
Okay, so what is our first phrase?
Our first phrase comes from the beginning of the dialogue with Mark, who says, you know, there are some people who are struggling to make ends meet. So the phrase here is to make ends meet.
Okay, to make ends meet. So if you take a look at this phrase, it's very hard to determine what that actually means. What does it mean?
Well, think about a string. If you want to make a circle out of that string, you have to connect the ends, right? And I think of that as being about your income and the money that you spend. I cannot make ends meet if I earn $10 every week, but I spend $15 on my house and my food.
Right.
Okay. So not being able to make ends meet means you spend more than you earn. Okay. And that's not about cars and fancy TVs. That's about your house, your heat, your bills, and your food.
Right.
But I say, I've been able to make ends meet for a while now because I have a pretty good job. Okay, so to make ends meet is to be able to pay for your necessities.
Okay.
But he can't make ends meet means he can't support himself financially.
Okay, very good. So to make ends meet is pretty much to satisfy your basic necessities.
Financially,
okay. Very good. And moving on, when we were talking about generosity and people helping out, you know, if you help people that are less fortunate, you are making a difference in a small way.
Okay, so this is a phrase that we hear all the time in the States. I'm not sure if it's the same in other English-speaking countries, but it's a very popular phrase. We talk about making a difference or trying to make a difference, and it's not very clear what a difference really is. But generally, this means doing good things for other people.
Okay.
Okay, so celebrities try to make a difference with their money and their fame. Some people try to make a difference by working at homeless shelters or at soup kitchens. And so there are many different ways to make a difference, but it's basically the idea that you volunteer or you give money to help other people.
Okay, very good. So even if, for example, you recycle, you can say you're making a difference in the environment.
That's right, you're making a difference. Usually a difference is a positive thing, so keep that in mind.
Very good. And for the last phrase on Fluency Builder today, we say that people who come here have fallen on hard times. So people that have fallen on hard times. What does it mean if you fall on hard times?
Well, basically, hard times are difficulties, right? So not being able to make ends meet, not being able to pay for your food and your housing. And so we have the verb to fall. You've fallen on hard times because you've gone from a place where you're comfortable to a lower place, a place where life is really hard.
Right.
And so think of this as a fixed phrase. He fell on hard times, or they fell on hard times. This means they don't have much money, or they can't support themselves, or they went bankrupt, for example.
So somebody that loses their job may have fallen on hard times.
That's right.
Okay.
And there's one more phrase here that deserves a little attention. We heard this word to bolster. To bolster is a verb that means to improve. So a hot meal can really bolster their spirits. That means it can make them feel better.
So to bolster their spirits means to make them feel happier, to lift their spirits.
That's right. Exactly what you said, to make them feel happier.
Okay, awesome. So a lot of interesting phrases there. Ways that you can talk in English about making a difference, about volunteering. Very interesting stuff. Very good for conversations between friends and family. So why don't we go back, listen to the dialogue again, and we'll be back to talk a little bit more.
Thanks a lot for pitching in once again, Judy. We really appreciate your help. It seems that at this time of year, there are more and more people who are struggling to make ends meet. There aren't many professional chefs like you who are so generous with their time.
Don't be silly, Mark. I'm more than happy to donate my time to a good cause. Volunteering at the soup kitchen has been really rewarding for me. You know, it's satisfying to provide good meals for those who are less fortunate. I feel like I'm really making a difference in some small way.
Well, your skills are definitely appreciated here. The people who come here have fallen on hard times, and a delicious hot meal can really bolster their spirits. Wow, that smells great. The needy are sure lucky to have you.
Thanks, Mark. Here you go. Enjoy your meal.
Thank you, my dear. Oh, this looks lovely.
You're welcome. Hello, sir. Today we have... George! What are you doing here?
Hey, Judy, I'll have a little of everything, thanks. Smells great.
George, seriously, what are you doing here? I haven't seen you since our divorce was finalized. You've got no right to be here. You're hardly homeless.
Don't be like that, Judy. I really miss your home cooking. All right, we're back. So talking about volunteering, have you ever done any volunteer work?
I have. I've done quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, what have you done?
Back when I was living in the United States in Chicago, I used to cook for a homeless shelter every week. So I would bring food every Thursday.
So you cook at home and you bring the food over to the shelter.
That's right. So the shelter had a kitchen, but they used donations from people because there were so many people who came there for food. And once a month, I would volunteer to also serve the food.
Okay.
So I would bring lasagna or pasta, things that most people like, and then once a month I would sit down with people and talk. You know, a lot of people are lonely when when they're in homeless shelters because they come alone, or maybe it's a mother and her child, and it's nice to also come and sit and talk to them.
No, it's very interesting, and I think volunteering is a much better solution than, for example, just giving out money to poor people or something like that. I don't think that's really the solution. I think you should dedicate your time and your energy to making a difference, like in the dialogue.
Well, and I think that the other benefit is for you, the volunteer, because it changes your perspective on poverty and on humanity. And you think about, well, you know, I could be this person. He was a banker 2 years ago, and now he doesn't have a house. And so I think it has a positive effect on everybody involved.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think it's a very rewarding experience, and I think English Pod definitely supports that you should volunteer, you should make a difference, and I think we can all help each other, right?
That's right. And let us know, have you ever volunteered? What kind of volunteer work have you done? Has it been environmental or social? Let us know on our website, englishpod.com. We hope to see you there.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Set to work vigorously. Pitch in. Willing to give away one's money, time, etc. Generous. Give something for free to a good cause. Donate. Be in a difficult situation. Fall on hard times. People who need practical or emotional support. Needy. Almost not. Hardly.
Willing to give away one's money, time, etc. Generous. Set to work vigorously. Pitch in. Let's try that faster.
Give something for free to a good cause. Donate.
Willing to give away one's money, time, etc. Generous.
Almost not. Hardly.
Set to work vigorously. Pitch in.
Willing to give away one's money, time, etc. Generous. Be in a difficult situation. Fall on hard times. People who need practical or emotional support. Needy. Set to work vigorously. Pitch in.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Donate. Every week, I donate 4 hours of my time to play with the kids at the orphanage. Donate. Can you donate some of your time to help us out at the soup kitchen? Donate. We have many volunteers who regularly donate their time to talk with the elderly in the nursing home. Generous. They gave a generous donation to the organization. Generous. This restaurant is very generous with their portion sizes. Generous. He is known to be a generous person. Fall on hard times. I talked with several homeless people, and most of them are on the street because they fell on hard times. Fall on hard times. My friend has fallen on hard times and has to sell her house. Fall on hard times. I hope we won't fall on hard times during this economic crisis. Needy. The needy are numerous in this city. Needy. We need to help the needy in our country. Needy. There are many needy people in my city. Hardly. I make hardly enough money to feed my family. Hardly. You're hardly in need of another pair of shoes. Hardly. With 5 kids, I hardly get any peace and quiet.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
And I am Catherine, and today we have a fun game-focused lesson for you.
That's right. Today we have an elementary lesson, and it's all about playing board games.
Okay, and the game in today's lesson is a famous one. It's called Monopoly.
Monopoly.
I don't know if you have this in your countries. It's a game in which you try to earn money and sell property and buy property. That means hotels, houses, things like
Right.
that. And it's very, very famous. We're going to learn more about this game today, so let's take a listen to our dialogue for the first time.
Hey, why did you take that money? You are such a cheater. I should send you to jail.
I am not cheating. When you pass go, you collect $200. Everyone knows that.
Well, you can't just take the money. You have to ask the bank for money. And I'm the banker.
Banker,
Yes?
can I have my $200, please?
Sure. Here you are, $200. Thank you. Please come again. Now it's my turn to roll the dice.
All right, we're back. So we saw some very interesting words there. The dialogue is two people playing, so why don't we take a look at some of those words used in language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
This first word we can hear when we play games. It's not a good thing to be, but it's very common. The word is cheater.
A cheater. All right, and that's a noun. A person that is a cheater. If somebody says you are a cheater, what does that mean?
This means the person is not honest at games. For example, Marco, you and I are playing a card game, and you go to the bathroom. And then I take the cards I want. I hide the cards I don't want. That's called cheating.
Right.
Okay, the verb to cheat. But here, a person who cheats is a cheater.
Okay.
You're a cheater. He's a cheater.
All right, and remember that you say cheater, right? Because sometimes many people that are learning English would say you are a cheat, right?
Now, cheater here is the noun. That means it's the name of the person who does this. He is a cheater. They are cheaters.
Okay. And, well, moving on, sometimes cheaters and people that steal things are sent to jail.
That's right. So maybe if you go to a casino and you cheat, you use a cell phone or you use some kind of a computer device to win money. This is called cheating, and the casino will send you to jail.
All right, so jail is the place where people go. What's the difference between prison and jail?
Basically, they're the same thing.
Okay, so...
Two words for the same thing. People who break the law, people who do bad things, go to jail. Not just cheaters.
All right, so now you have another word. Maybe you've seen that show Prison Break. And so jail is pretty much the same thing. So the show could have been called Jailbreak.
That's right, but yeah.
All right. So moving on, our third word is the person who's handling money says, well, you know what? I'm the banker, a banker.
Cheater, banker. So you know already, banker is probably a person. This is a job. So a banker is a person who works at a bank.
Okay. So, but what about the person that helps you when you go to the bank, like when that gives you the money and the bank teller? It's not the same as a banker, right?
No, generally speaking, a person who gives you money and collects your money, this is a teller.
A bank teller.
A bank teller. But a banker is someone who works in the bank to make big decisions, to invest money, to give loans.
Okay. So usually maybe managers or executives are bankers.
That's right.
Okay. And moving on to our last word here, we have a verb, and that is to collect.
Right. So in the conversation between these two people, Karen, the woman, says, when you pass go, you collect $200.
Okay. So to collect means to get.
That's right. To get or to take. So at the end of every month, my landlord comes to my house to collect rent. That means to take money from me for the house or the apartment.
Okay, good. So now you have another way to say to get or to acquire.
That's right.
All right, so very interesting. Why don't we go back, listen to this dialogue again, and we'll take a look at all of these words that we just saw. And when we return, we'll take a look at some phrases.
Hey, why did you take that money? You are such a cheater. I should send you to jail.
I am not cheating. When you pass go, you collect $200. Everyone knows that.
Well, you can't just take the money. You have to ask the bank for money. And I'm the banker.
Banker,
Yes?
can I have my $200, please?
Sure. Here you are, $200. Thank you. Please come again. Now it's my turn to roll the dice.
All right, we're back. So now let's take a look at 3 key phrases on Fluency Builder.
Fluency builder.
Marco, you're such a cheater.
Such a cheater. I'm not a cheater, but what do you mean when you say you are such a cheater? So we know cheater, right?
That's right. You could say this for many different things. You're such a liar.
Ah.
You are such a...
Such a terrible person.
You're such a bad person.
Right.
Normally we say this when we want to criticize someone, when we want to say something mean or negative. You're such a means you're really a bad person. You're really a cheater.
Right. So obviously because we are using a noun, we can't really use an adverb, right? If you're saying an adjective like, I am very happy. You can't say, you are very cheater.
No.
Right?
You wouldn't say that. You have to use a different sentence structure to give emphasis. So in this case, you could say, cheater.
Right.
Okay, but that's not as strong, is it?
As such a cheater.
You are such a cheater. That means, gosh, you're a really big cheater.
Right, exactly. So this is the way that you would use that structure, such a, and then a noun that is describing this person, right?
You could also use it for positive statements like, you're such a good friend.
Very good. So then you are using the adjective, you are such a good friend.
You're such a nice person.
Okay, excellent. All right, so moving on, we saw another interesting phrase when he said, well, you know what? You can't just take the money. So what does he mean when he says can't just?
Okay, we could say you can't take the money. This is basically a rule. You can't take the money. But you can't just take the money means there are other things you have to do before you take the money. Okay? You have to, in this case, ask the banker for the money. Or, for example, if I want to drive a car, I can't just go buy a car. I need to first get a driver's license. I need to learn how to drive. I need to register. So you can't just here means there's some things we need to do before this happens.
Right. You can't just means you can't do these things that easily. You have to do other things before it, as you said.
Exactly.
Okay, so very interesting. We will try to use that one in a sentence. But moving on to our last phrase, when the person said, you know what, all right, you want your $200? Here you are.
Here you are. So sometimes people think that this phrase means you are here.
Right. Which it could in some cases.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So basically you're saying...
I found you. Here you are.
I found you. But in this case, this doesn't make sense. We're talking about money. We're talking about a game. So if you think about this, here you are, you can imagine someone is giving someone else a thing.
An object.
So in the case of the bank teller, remember we were talking about getting money at a bank? A bank teller might say, here you are, sir, here's your money, and then give you some money. So this is something we say in English when we give something to someone else.
Right. Because otherwise, I guess it's strange if you just, give something to someone and you don't say anything, right? You need to say something.
And if you say, here. That's very rude.
Yeah.
So this is a polite way to say, please take this. This is for you.
There you go.
You might hear this at the at a restaurant. Here you are. Here's your food. Here you are.
Right. Okay, it's a very useful phrase, and so I think it's time for us to listen to this dialogue again, and we'll be back to talk a little bit more.
Hey, why did you take that money? You are such a cheater. I should send you to jail.
I am not cheating. When you pass go, you collect $200. Everyone knows that.
Well, you can't just take the money. You have to ask the bank for money. And I'm the banker.
Banker,
Yes?
can I have my $200, please?
Sure. Here you are, $200. Thank you. Please come again. Now it's my turn to roll the dice.
All right, we're back. So a lot of interesting words there, a lot of interesting phrases. They're really interesting and very useful. So remember to try and use such a, you can't just, or here you are when you're giving something to someone.
That's right. These are really great. And I recommend also playing some games. Games are a great way to improve your language skills. Monopoly, the game that they're playing in this dialogue, is a really fun one for numbers.
Yeah.
Right? Because the whole point of the game, the whole purpose of the game is to make the most money.
Right.
Of anyone playing. And this is a really fun one because you get to buy houses and hotels and there's simple street names and place names.
Yeah.
Like Park Avenue or the Boardwalk. So you'll learn a lot of really great things about American culture and English.
Yeah, it's a really good game, very popular. I'm sure they have it in your language, but if you could get it in English, that would be really great. And also another really good game to play with your friends to practice your vocab is Scrabble.
Scrabble, that's hard. Scrabble is a game about words.
Yeah.
And so basically you have to make words out of letters.
Yeah.
And whoever has the most interesting words, unique words, that person wins.
So obviously it's a great game to improve your vocab because you also learn some words that maybe you didn't know before and your friends knew. So it's really fun to play. Obviously, don't play with any native English speakers because they might win. But it's a really cool game to play if you have any friends who are also learning English. You can get together, play Scrabble, and it's a fun way to improve your vocab and to also fight a little bit because all the time some people are trying to make up new words that don't really exist.
We call them cheaters. So yeah, let us know about your game experiences. Do you like to play games? Do you have a favorite game? Practice some of these and let us know how they go.
Board games. Fun and learning. What is a board game? A board game is a fun activity that people play using a board, game, pieces, dice, or cards. Every board game has rules that players must follow. Some games are for 2 players, while others can be played by many people. Board games are popular with families, children, and friends because they bring people together. People play board games for different reasons. Some play to relax and have fun, while others play to learn and improve their thinking skills. Many board games help players develop strategy, problem solving, patience, and creativity. The history of board games. Board games have been played for thousands of years. One of the oldest known board games is Senet, which was played in ancient Egypt more than 5,000 years ago. Another famous old game is Go, which started in China about 4,000 years ago. Chess, one of the world's most famous board games, began in India over 1,500 years ago. In the past, board games were made from wood, stone, or cloth. Today, they are made from cardboard, plastic, and paper. Some board games now have digital versions, so people can play them on computers and phones. Different types of board games. There are many kinds of board games. Some games need strategy and thinking, while others are based on luck. Here are some popular types. 1. Strategy games. In these games, players must think carefully and plan their moves. Some examples are: chess players move pieces to capture the opponent's king. Checkers players jump over pieces to remove them from the board. Go players try to capture more space on the board. 2. Luck-based games. These games depend on luck, and players do not know what will happen next. Some examples are: snakes and ladders players roll dice to move forward, but if they land on a snake, they go back. Ludo players race their pieces around the board and try to reach home first. 3. Word and number games. These games help players learn new words or numbers. Some examples are: Scrabble players create words using letter tiles. Boggle players find as many words as possible in a grid of letters. Sudoku, a number puzzle where players place digits in the right order. 4. Adventure and role-playing games. These games have stories and let players become different characters. Some examples are: Monopoly players buy land and collect money to become the richest player. The Game of Life players move through different life events, making choices about jobs, families, and money. Why are board games important? Board games are fun, but they also have many benefits. They help us think. Strategy games improve problem-solving skills. They teach patience. Players must wait for their turn. They bring people together. Families and friends can spend time together. They reduce stress. Playing games makes people feel happy and relaxed. They improve memory. Remembering rules and moves helps the brain stay sharp. How to play a board game. To play a board game, follow these steps. 1. Choose a game. Pick a game that everyone likes. 2. Learn the rules. Read the instructions or ask someone to explain. 3. Set up the board. Arrange the game pieces. 4. 5. Play fair and have fun. The future of board games. Today, board games are still very popular. Many people love playing traditional board games at home, but now there are also online board games. These digital versions let people play with friends, even if they are far away. In the future, board games may use technology like virtual reality, VR, to make the experience even more fun. However, no matter how much board games change, one thing will always be true. They bring people together and make learning fun. Would you like to play a board game today?
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
So extreme a degree. Such a. To deceive by trickery. Cheat. My opportunity to do something. My turn. Place where prisoners are kept. Jail. Used to ask for permissions. Can I? The player in charge of the bank and gambling games. Banker.
Let's try that faster.
To deceive by trickery. Cheat. The player in charge of the bank and gambling games. Banker. Used to ask for permissions. Can I? So extreme a degree. Such a. My opportunity to do something. My turn. Place where prisoners are kept. Jail.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Such a. Mike is such a loser. He has no ambitions or goals in life. Such a. Amanda is such a phony. You can never really believe her. Such a. He is such a playboy. He has many girlfriends. Cheat. My classmate was cheating on the exam. Cheat. Carol always cheats when we play games together. Cheat. My parents taught me never to cheat people. Can I? Can I have your ice cream? Can I? Can I have a taste of your soup? Can I? Can I have some money, please? My turn. It's your turn to wash the dishes. My turn. It's his turn to clean the room. My turn. It's my turn to get on the ride.